social media link on the chat, and as much as possible, I'll also connect with you. Um, for the next, we're going to look at briefly is some of the courses we do. As much as possible, we have a lot of, either online courses or live sessions we run from time to time. One of them is AI business analysis. We have the full SAP internship program. We have what we call the SAP technical training for functional consultants. These are some of the sessions we run. We have SAP business analysis training, basically around project management in SAP. We have business analysis professional training. We have some list of courses here. We have business process automation training, which is some courses we do. And of course, we have the very popular SAP S/4HANA FICO training. So these are some training sessions we have had over time. And as demand or from time to time, we have these sessions within the year. If you follow me or you reach out to me once these sessions are available, you get those informations. But it's just informing you that as much as possible, we have these sessions. And if you're interested, why not? You can reach out to me and we will have that set up for you. Um, Moving into the course, let's basically have, look at what we intend to learn today, and I'm very passionate about this because it's one course that I have seen, I've used it in my work, I see it every day at work, and I felt like, sharing this information, to everybody who has joined here today so that we can, learn, be aware, and also bring our ideas and we all learn together. Now, this course provides both what we call the conceptual understanding and practical insights into leveraging, digital transformation for SAP S/4HANA for improved financial reporting or financial performance, real-time reporting, automation, and strategic decisions. Now, this training program is designed for all ERP professionals, ERP specialists, finance professionals, business process owners who want to understand how SAP S/4HANA drives digital transformation. Now, it's not just about being a consultant or being a user or aspiring, to become a consultant, but it's to understand the foundation why you are a consultant in the first place, is to understand where we are in the world today and what is really driving most of the transformations we are seeing around the world. It's a very big deal. The world has shifted. For me, if you're somebody who follows IT a lot, you will see that there has been a shift in even the ERPs we use. There's been a shift in how we use them and what they're actually meant for. And we're going to see how really these two come together, how and a solution called SAP and how it is helping drive the transformation that businesses are going through because of what we call disruptions in the world right now, because things are happening very fast. Companies are dying very fast. New ones are coming up very fast. So, and of course, skills are changing by the day, right? So it's really a very sensitive and a very important topic for all of us. And I'm happy that we are all here together to learn and to add our voice to it. Now, after this course, they expected that participants will gain a comprehensive view of how business processes are aligned in the digital era and how SAP S/4HANA enables this transformation. And I believe that by the time we're done with this course, we will have something to think about, something to prepare for, and it will help us make some decisions, in our careers and in the way we work. For the course objectives, really, we're going to be looking at, introduction to digital transformation. We're going to be looking at, learn about the key drivers. Why would your company decide to implement an ERP? Why will your business decide to? Why are they doing this project? Is it just for the just to align with business goals, or is there something behind? Why would a company want to invest millions? Is it just about you know, moving with the trend, or is there something more strategic? Is there something they are scared of, or is this something, or what is really driving them? And if you understand this as a user, as a consultant, as somebody who is new, to IT or to ERP, as somebody who's already experienced, it will change your mindset in the way you deliver your solutions, in the way you drive, have those conversations, in the way you channel your career, because this will also open up your mind to what the next decade will look like in terms of, in terms of being in the digital space. Of course, we're going to look at enterprise management for SAP very briefly. We're going to talk a little bit around, disruptive innovation. We'll look at some very good business cases, for digital transformation with SAP S/4HANA. And as much as possible, as we go into the class, we're going to be listening to great leaders in the industries who have actually had first-hand information around digital transformation. So as we move on, we're going to be seeing quotes. We're going to be seeing videos, very short clips of, people who have really experienced transformation and what it looks like and how they have used ERP or IT to, transform their businesses. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat. We'll have regular break sessions, regular, slides where we will need you to unmute and just give us an insight into what you think. Like I said, no idea, no definition. Is in fact, the more you give us what you think, the better for us. You don't need to use AI to answer any questions here. Just share your thoughts on what you think. It is most valuable. Trust me, because that's why we're all here. We're all here to learn and we're all here to share our knowledge and share what we think we know to the topic for today. So please feel free, when the time comes, to unmute your mic, to speak, to contribute. We value it 100%. So thank you very much, and let's move into the next session. For today, we're just going to do what we call an ice an icebreaker question, and just to make sure that we're all there and we're following, and want to also get your thoughts. The first question today would be, and of course, please use your chat to answer this. You don't need to unmute your mic. Just drop the question. The response is on the chat. And the first thing is, how much do you know about digital transformation? So use A, B, C, D to answer the question. And I'm going to take some time to go through them. First is not much. So if you don't know much about it in the chat, just put A. The second is, I have a good idea about it. You can use B if that's your response. C says knowledgeable about digital transformation. You can use C, and D says expert, then you can use D. So I'm going to give us 30 seconds to, just to make sure you're following and you're here with us. The word digital transformation, how much do you know about it? If you can use the chat, I would gladly appreciate it. So I just read the chat and we can move from there. Yeah, thank you very much. I have a lot of A's. Samuel says A, quite good. Cosmos says B. You know, Khan says A. So we have a lot of A's, we have a lot of B's, we have some two C's, and we have A. So interesting. We have some good learning to do today. And thank you very much, guys, for sharing your feedback. So we're not going to be taking much time in these sessions. The next is we're going to be looking at briefly. Yep. Okay, the next is, now thank you for sharing. So we have a lot of A's, not much. So hopefully we will see how that goes. The second is, which of the following best describe your understanding of SAP and digital transformation? Now it's really around both of them. Have you, what's your experience? If you have been in any project, then you should have had some understanding. First is, for SAP and digital transformation, I'm brand new to both. Secondly is, I understand the basics of ERP, which is both of them. Third is, know what AI is, but not how it connects with ERP. AI sits under digital transformation. D is, I have hands-on experience with one or both. So if you just briefly let us know what best suits your response. Are you brand new to both? Do you understand the basics? Um, you know what AI? well, which is just one of the digital transformations, we have, but, but not how it connects, or you have a hands-on experience and you want to share. Thank you very much. So I have, yep, I have C for Tamomo. I have Owolabi C. Thank you. A for Tony, B for Ben, we have A's, we have C's, we have D's, we have C's, we have B's, and we have D's. Thank you very much, guys. So I have a mixture of everybody, which is the essence of this pool. And it's giving me a very good background on how to approach this particular session. So thank you very much, guys, for sharing your thoughts. In the next sessions, we might need you to unmute your mic, but where we are now is we're actually about to move diving into the course proper. So please remember, as we have conversations, if you have questions, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We're going to have a 30 minutes break we're going to have just going to have two breaks. So in around 30 minutes, I'm going to stop for us to have some drink for about 5 minutes. Then we'll come back and conclude the course. Let's dive into the course and see really what this whole session is all about. Just before we dive in, we need to make sure that there are no crocodiles or there are nothing in the pool. So, and that's the interesting part. Now, before we dive in, let's listen to really some quotes about digital transformation, and you will see that these are veterans in the industries, and to help us really understand how serious this concept is. So I'm just going to play this. I'm hoping that you would hear it. Please, if you heard anything, just say yes, so that I'm sure and I can continue. If you had some sounds, yes, awesome. Thank you very much, Samuel. So let me just continue as we move on.
The digital revolution is far more significant than the invention of writing or even of printing. Douglas Engelbart, inventor and computer engineer.
The future belongs to those who embrace digital transformation. John Chambers, former CEO of Cisco.
Digital transformation is not just about technology. It's about transforming your business to take advantage of the technology. Tony Saldana, former VP of Global Business Services at Procter & Gamble.
In the digital era, the customer is in charge. Greg Sattel, author and innovation advisor.
Every industry and every organization will have to transform itself in the next few years. Tim O'Reilly, founder of O'Reilly Media.
The pace of change has never been this fast, yet it will never be this slow again. Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada.
Digital transformation is less about technology and more about people. David L. Rogers, professor at Columbia Business School.
Digital transformation is more about people than digital. John Marcanti, CIO of Vanguard.
Digital is the main reason just over half of the companies on the Fortune 500 have disappeared since the year 2000. Pierre Nantum, former CEO of Accenture.
The key to digital transformation is reimagining how you bring together people, data, and processes. Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft.
Thank you very, very much. I hope you had some very good insights into what people think about digital transformation, especially those who are veterans, who have grown multinationals. And any of those quotes that sits with you, it's very fine. And we're going to be moving on with what we with our course. But it just gives you an idea that this concept is something um, that is also very important to CEOs and of these global companies. And it should be important to us as individuals and those who want to actually become relevant in their careers, hopefully now and in the next coming decade. So let's look at the concept. What is digital? So at this point, I'd usually just like one or two people to share their thoughts while others can use the chat. As much as possible, please just raise your hand. It's a question I really want to get from us. So the question is, what is digital? If you want to help us with what really is not a definition, but when you hear the word digital, what really comes to your mind? Or what do you think digital is? Anybody, just raise your hand and unmute yourself and speak. Thank you very much, Samuel. Please go ahead. What
Hello,
is digital?
hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you, Samuel.
All right, digital refers to anything that involves zeros and ones, so software to a large extent, and it's yes, so computers working with technology in the areas of software and application.
Awesome. Thank you. Technology, software, one and alls. Thank you very much for your feedback. I appreciate that, Samuel. Thank you. Um, any other person wants to try? Cosmos, please go ahead.
Okay,
What is digital?
I'll say digital is it's basically carrying out duties, tasks, responsibility through the use of computers, softwares,
Okay.
which aids our everyday work and prompts quick what is it called, results for decision making. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And really I appreciate these thoughts. They are very valuable to me. Like I said, I've gotten very few concepts. I mean, the most important thing here is processes, technologies, softwares, computers, which is very fine. In the chat here I've seen automation of business processes. Awesome. I've seen not analog. That's good. It's binary code. Very wonderful. So let's go into the course and really try and see what it means, not just from me but from I usually like using people who are veterans, and I mean, it just gives us that very good insight. Now, what is digital? According to Pearson, digital means change, it means choice, it means innovation, it means speed, and it means people centricity. I mean, I know that Sam and those who have answered and those who have actually shared their thoughts in the chat will be like, "Whoa, really? This is digital." Oh, okay. And this is basically coming from the fact that this definition of digital is not IT specific. It's more of somebody who is coming from who is coming from a very deep place, right? Because for you to say digital means change, okay, it means choice, it means innovation, it means speed, it means people centricity. It shows you that he's not talking about what digital means in the IT sense. He's looking at the impact of digital. So when you say you have digitalized something, these are some of the outputs from those that processes you have digitalized, and some things that that prompt you to do digitalization in the first place. Let's look at a more standard definition. I'm going to just give you that. If you can write, it's fine, but it's something I have also researched. Now, in IT, so let me put it into more perspective. In IT, digital refers to electronic technology that processes and transmits information. So one is, if you can take note, one is digital involves electronic technology. If you can just give me 1 second, let me get my pen so I can write on the screen so we get this clear. Just 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Now, first thing is digital means number one, and let me do this so that we get some very good details out of it. Number one, digital means electronic technology. That's one thing that should come to your mind. Now, what does this electronic technology do? It processes and transmits information. Now, so it's clear now that whatever is digital, according to in the context of IT, really is an electronic technology. So it could be your phone, it could be your laptop, it could be anything. But the essence, the goal of that technology should be to process and transmit information using, somebody said that, binary codes. I might not go into details in this because, of course, those that are into programming will have some concept, but that's not what I'm focusing on. But just take note of the two keywords here. One is it's an electronic technology, and two is it processes and transmits information in a certain language or in a certain code. But really, is that what we call digital? No. So why are we using electronic technology and why are we processing information in codes? The essence of this is, number one, to enable, so I say it, I put it this way, to enable the connection. So I'll say enable the connection of, number one, people, number two, systems, and number three, processes. And this is key because at the end of the day, and you will see how this has shifted over the years. Why digital has means change, it means choice, it means innovation, it means speed, and it means people centricity. Because at the end of the day, if the essence of digital is to connect, right? Is to process. But as it's processing in this time and age, if it's not connecting people, if it's not connecting systems, if it's not connecting processes, it's as good as not being useful. Now, when you connect people, system, and processes in this digital era, what are the outputs? You will see that if you connect this successfully, you should have, one, improved customer experience for those who are going to be using those your services. Number two, you're going to have improved employee experience. And number three, you should have also supported with improving processes, which we call, some of the way you can do that is to do automation, because move manual. Now, you see why Pearl is saying that digital means people centricity. In the out of the goal of digital is two of these goals is actually sitting on people, either the customer or the employee. And as we move on, you would actually, your mind will shift from the fact that digital is really about technology. We have gone past that age. So if you're still sitting in that age, then this course is for you because it will transform the way you have thought about the concept of digital, and it will shift you to where we are at this time because there has been a shift, but very little people are aware of that. And there are a lot of people in technology, in IT, that see technology, they see that transformation as technology. They have little regard. They don't see how that, they don't, they don't appreciate the people side of that. It's all about, oh, let's roll out this technology, let's get things working and all that. People abandon the two most important goals or output of that process, which is um which is customers and your people. If your transformation is not focused on those two, there's a likelihood that that digital, or what you call change, will most likely fail. So that's why somebody like Pearl is saying that it's really people centricity. Technology, innovation, or digital has left technology really. It's now about people. It's now about your customers. Because anything you do, that if that does not connect your people, if it does not connect the systems, if it does not connect processes and try to improve them, and at the end of the day, if all those connections is not also improving customer experience, then you have just wasted your time because that shift has happened. So companies now don't just implement systems and they feel, oh, we have gone live. Going live is not the goal of digital transformation. Moving from one system to another is not the goal of digital transformation. It's really around making sure that and just connecting processes. For example, if you work in platforms like SAP has a lot of modules, and a typical consultant will feel a successful go live is when all these modules work together. But you have just done one part of what digital is, connecting systems. You have not connected people, you have not connected processes. That's why a lot of digital transformation or a lot of ERP implementations fail. They connect systems, they don't connect people, they don't improve process. The goal is not to improve processes, it's technology focused instead of people centric. And that is one of the message. If in case you don't learn anything, that is I need that to shift in your mind so that even as a consultant, as a new person in technology, as somebody who is already working, your goal should not just be focused on implementing systems. It's really around how has this implementation improved the employee? How has it improved customer experience? How has it improved processes? Has it made the process more complicated, or has it actually helped the user? A task that would have taken the user, 1 week, it now does it in 1 day. The question is, even if it does it in 1 day, what is the impact? So it doesn't just end in implementing systems. It goes way beyond that. And that is the mindset that I hope to pass on to you as we move on through this course. So I hope you have learned something that digital really is it's far from just using systems to improve process. No, it's connecting three key things: people, systems, and processes. And that connection must produce three key results. It must improve customer experience, it must improve employee experience. One of the ways to improve employee experience is that at the end of the day, you make the life of the employee a little bit more easier. You don't complicate, issues. That's why, some people will say softwares like SAP, when we were using ECC, for example, was the interface was too complicated. So you don't, so these three things must be there to say that you have actually successfully driven what we call digital. I hope, but if you have questions, please use the chat as we move on. Now, the next question that is like two words that always comes together and that makes this whole concept so powerful is, what is transformation? And just like we gave our thoughts, I'd like you to know nothing, no serious um, no, just from the word transformation, what do you think transformation is? When you hear the word transform or transformation, what comes to your mind? I need, people to respond. And of course, if you can use the chat, please feel free. What does the word transformation mean to you? Change. Go ahead, Samuel. Thank you. If I say change.
Okay, to change form from what it is to what it could be. So just like in physics, you could say changing from water liquid to ice. So changing something from a state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, change from one state to another. Thank you. Thank you very much, Samuel, for always contributing. Please, any other person wants to add to what Samuel has said? In the chat, Chioke said change, Tony says development, Cosmo says people and process change. Thank you very much, guys, for your feedback. Let's go and basically see what transformation is. And of course, a funny way to look at transformation sometimes is, if you saw sometimes on social media, you see a lady that is looking well, um, probably if you see ladies that do makeup, I saw one picture of a lady looking extremely beautiful in quotes, and after the makeup, she was transformed to something else. That's an idea of what you can say transformation is. But let's look at it in the sense of technology. Now, there's this quote that comes first before we look at the definition. It's by Albert Einstein. It says, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So he's saying that we cannot solve our problems. If you use the thinking to create a problem, then you need another thinking to solve that problem. It's just very good concept that sits with me every single time. Now, in the context of transformation, what is transformation? Now, in the context of IK, again, I'm going to look at that. I would say that transformation is a strategic process, number one. So when you say transform, you want to transform something, the first key thing there is that there has to be strategy. So you don't just, if something is not working, you don't just go and move it or transform it. No. The first is, transformation is a strategy. It's a strategic process of what? That strategy is really about fundamentally, and I think most of you got it, fundamentally, not just changing, but fundamentally changing what? Because I see a lot of people say change, which is awesome. Change, somebody also said change process, which is fine. So first is, when you hear the word transformation, strategy should come to your mind. Secondly, is that strategy is geared towards not just minor, but it has to go to the root. Fundamentally changing what? Remember, we had three processes that we talked about when we talked about digital. One, you fundamentally change systems. Two, you fundamentally change culture. And three, you fundamentally change process. And this again has brought the three cardinals that really are key when we talk about digital transformation. You see these three, they are the foundation. So when you say transform in the sense of IT, we are looking at changing fundamentally changing systems, the way the systems currently work, or by systems, we also say technology. Number two, we are fundamentally changing culture. So I think that's one thing that I have seen, joining projects in IT or in ERP, and we'll see more quotes around as we move on. The truth is that when people roll out ERPs or involve in themselves in transformation, so of course you had, we're implementing this system to transform, how we work. People always focus on systems and most cases process. But you see culture, why is it that people who will use this system and who will use this process don't go through transformation themselves? It's a big question. And that's the essence of this class. Like, why is it that organizations don't spend as much money they spend on the system? They don't spend as much money as they spend on the process. They don't spend as much in culture. Meanwhile, the people, again, culture here is people, and people here are your employees. If you don't change the way you work, the way people see transformation, if you don't change the human beings that will use this system and that will help you improve this process, how would you say transformation is successful? Now, that is a fundamental reason why a lot of ERP implementations fail. Companies spend billions, millions bringing new system. They spend millions on consultants looking for process improvement opportunities. But you see, the emphasis on culture, on the people, on those who will use this system, they don't spend as much. In fact, they come last. They come very last. You see, in most ERP implementations, we identify stakeholders, we're driving on consultants, implementation partners are configuring the system, everybody's moving at a pace. At the end of the day, it fails. At the end of the day, people are already you've not dealt with change management, you've not dealt with those who are scared that this change will affect their jobs, you've not dealt with empowering your people to align to these new ways of working, you have not focused on the main thing that will support this change, but you are focusing on the two things that the main thing would, because if people do not align and if they don't support, transformation is useless. Again, that has brought us to the concept, to the key thing that Pearl was talking about, that transformation should be people-centric, not system-centric. There's a lot of focus on the technology. Meanwhile, those who are actually supposed to use the system, there's very little. In fact, people start scrambling when they are close to go live, and that's when they remember, oh, this person has not been trained. Oh, who will do this? Who will do that? Of course, we have stakeholder registers. We have people we engage a lot with, some key users and all that, but we don't take our time to really look at people and look at culture. Another thing is culture. If you don't deal with culture, transformation will fail. Culture, it means a lot. It means the way people see themselves. It means the way people support each other within that organization. It means the way they set the way they see the project. It means all the fears and the concerns they have about this change happening. I think that is one big part that is missing in a lot of transformation projects. So this again has brought us to the point that you know it involves transformation. Involves much more than just upgrading an existing system or implementing a new system or moving to one version to the another. It's way much more than that, and I want us in this call to understand that when you call yourself a consultant, it's way more than just implementing systems, at least in this context. Instead, it encompasses, it encompasses a deeper cultural shift and an overhaul of process to adapt to evolving business needs and societal changes. Sorry, that is what transformation is. It's really, those two things are very, very important. There has to be a shift in the way, because let's say, for example, people have been used to doing manual processes. Some people have spent 30 years, 40 years, 15 years, 10 years doing that same thing over the years. Do you think just bringing, for example, Microsoft Dynamics, for example, SAP, and we want to implement SAP, and you just, you offload that on the company? Of course, you make the announcements, you make sure managers rally the troops round and all that. I mean, do you think that is enough? You have to focus on making sure that the person who has been doing this particular job for 30 years understands why we need to move from here, this point to this point. It's not just about words. It's more of taking enough time to preach that message, taking enough time to take people through that process, that change process, or else, you're going to have very beautiful applications, very beautiful systems, but you're going to have people are going to be going back to the old ways of working. So I've seen implementations where you have this very robust ERP, but people still go back to the manual way of doing what they're doing, and the system is just there, not actually being useful for the purpose that it was implemented, because people ignored. There's always this ignoring culture. You have culture of people who don't want to work together. You have culture of people who see some other people as different. So you need to fix those foundations, really. And that's the essence of transformation. You need to fix these two, culture and process, and make sure that they adapt to what you're about to do. And of course, so many people are responsible for this, but we need this message to go out there, even as consultants, as new users. That is what it is. And we're going to see further. Sorry, I think we go there. The next question is, what are we transforming? What really are we transforming? When we say we are doing digital transformation, what are we transforming? I'd like us to actually respond in our chats or in our call. What are we transforming? When we say, yes, thank you very much, I've seen evolution. What are we transforming? When we say we are transforming, when we say we're doing digital transformation, what really are we transforming? If you've been part of change within your business, what was transformed? I like us to, any other person who can tell us when companies want to do transformation, what do they transform? What really is the goal and what do they transform? Any other person, please, you can share you can use the chat. I know somebody has talked about people and process change. Really, what do we transform? Any person, Chika, Sam, okay, thank you very much. Bill says ways of working. That's a very nice way to put it. We transform the ways of working. Bill also said business processes. Thank you very much. Please, you can share your thoughts. What do we transform? And these are very good feedbacks. Thank you very much, Bill. Chika said we transform processes. Thank you. That has actually been echoed by Bill. Business processes. All right, thank you. So let's go back and see. Let's go back and see what we really transform. Okay. Okay. So when we say we have undergone transformation, the question is, what do we really transform? What is being transformed? First is we have a quote here by Rodrigo Lubus that says, the critical part of any digital transformation is digital leadership, culture, and not technology. This is just re-emphasizing that the critical part of any digital transformation is digital leadership and digital culture, not technology. Let's take note. And if you look at the 5 areas of transformation, so for you who if you're already an ERP consultant, if you're new to ERP, if you're new to this course, when we say we are actually undergoing transformation, there are actually 5 key areas. 5 key areas. One of the areas we transform is business and operating models. It's very, very important. Business and operating models. And of course, in operating models, we can say business, may introduce an entirely new product, to meet changing market demands. That's really sitting around models. Another thing we transform is processes, business processes. What is a business process really? They're basically what you do day to day. If you're an accountant, you raise transactions, you raise PO. If you're an IT person, you help troubleshoot, issues. If you're in marketing, you work with the CRM team and you create orders. If you're in procurement, you support with key procurement activities. So anything you do on a daily basis where you go to work or within an organization is your process. And a way of actually transforming a process is, one, you can look at automating it. Two, you can look at trying to get deeper insights into what that process is delivering. And number four, you can, of course, if the process is so manual, you can use workflow to actually modernize the workflow around those processes. So second thing we are transforming is processes. The third thing we should be transforming is culture, workforce, and skills. And this is also very important. If this one is missing, unfortunately, it's going to be difficult transforming anything. So you have to make sure that you have a culture that empower employees. Employees feel that they are well valued within that environment. You should have a culture that is collaborative, that has open communication, and you should use things like those digital tools to break down departmental silos, enable better working communication, and of course, cross-functional teamwork. So it's important that when you say you have gone through an implementation or a digital transformation project, culture is important, right? You should make sure you also have a culture that prioritizes data literacy, that prioritizes learning, and supports, innovation and growth within the business. The next thing we transform or we can transform is technology. Of course, that's where most of us sit. We use tools, we use technology, we use emerging technologies to improve processes, to drive that change that the business is moving forward to. And that's where a lot of people see digital transformation. They see it as a technology thing. But we have seen in this class today that digital transformation involves way more than technology, involves a lot. And of course, another thing we should transform is customer experiences, which is why a business is existing in the first place. And that's why a lot of businesses fail. If you don't transform customer experience, if you don't look forward to improving their experience, making their life a little bit more easier, putting platforms that can help them gain insight into your service and into your products, integrating your business products so that they can easily understand what you're offering and you can support them, have this 24/7, I'll say AI powered chatbot that can always support them when human beings are off business. All these technologies that businesses put in place to make sure that customer experience is improved is part of the things we transform. So if you go to your workplace tomorrow, if you're working also in your home, you can look at areas you can transform. It could be, it could really fall. So if you look at a company and they say they're engaging in digital transformation, these 5 key areas should be the areas they should be focusing on. Not just technology, but people should be transforming culture, they should improve process, and they should look at their models and improve that also. Okay, I think we have gone through this. Okay, just going to now. The next question is why transformation? So why should we transform? Why should we, move from where we are to point B, from point A to point B? And I also like us to share our thoughts in 1 minute. The question says, why should we transform? Why should we go through digital transformation? Okay, I've got Owolabi say business models, customer experience, technology infrastructure. Thank you very much, Ogola. But one big question now is, why should we transform? Why should a nation bother to transform? Why should you as an individual transform? Anybody wants to raise their hand and give us your thoughts? Why should businesses undergo transformation? Thank you, Austin. Please go ahead. Austin, you can unmute your mic. Hi, Austin. Can you hear me? Okay. It's not unmuting. Oh, really? Let me see if I can help you. I think it is. Yeah, I can't unmute you, unfortunately. You have to unmute yourself. So you can drop us. Sorry, Austin. You can drop us a chat. Go ahead, Samuel. Why should we transform? Shika is
So
written out his chat. Okay, go ahead, Samuel.
we just want to remain competitive in the market. The world is constantly changing. We're having new technology, and to
Yeah.
remain competitive in the international market, but also locally as well.
Okay, to remain competitive. Thank you very, very much. That's a good one. Ofolabi, please unmute and speak to us. Why should we transform?
Thank you. I think the last person that spoke actually mentioned what I wanted to talk about, which is the fact that the markets are evolving fast, irrespective of the industry that we're playing in, and there are new entrants and willing to disrupt. So we need to be exceedingly competitive. And a good example is transformation from DVD rentals to what we have at Netflix today. So
Mm,
if you don't grow, there are people that are coming to the market to take you off. So you need to be
true.
aware of your environment. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much. I thought that's a very good one. Sam, please go ahead. Why should we transform?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, I believe that the need for transformation, uh, there is always a better way of doing things
Mm,
because of
mm,
efficient, improve process. So we need
okay.
more transformation. Mm.
Yeah. Better ways of doing things. Thank you very much. Chika has said in the chat to maintain their competitive advantage, which is what Samuel also talked about. Um, Tamomo has said better performance, operational efficiency, industry competitiveness. Thank you very much. Amosuna says to help transform data into something that can help make better or smarter decisions. Thank you very much. Sam, are you still raising your hand or that's done? Okay. Now, thank you very much, everybody, and I really appreciate your thoughts. Please keep them coming, so we can keep learning from you, and we'll see how that goes. Now, why transformation? And I think that there's no better way of looking at this by listening to Jeff Bezos, who is the founder of Amazon. Of course, that company has constantly transformed itself. It says, Jeff Bezos says that in today's era of volatility, there is no other way but to reinvent. And transformation for me should not just look at business. You should personalize this as an individual, right? So speak to yourself that in today's era of changes, you need to transform yourself. And it's important that one of the ways I enjoy learning is when I hear these concepts, I try to personalize them. So this applies to even individuals, not just businesses. You need to also reinvent yourself. If you would, the skills you learned 20 years ago or 10 years ago, of course, at this time is already obsolete. Right. So let me continue. It says that the only sustainable advantage you can have over others is agility. Agility means responding to change quickly. That's it. Because nothing else is sustainable. Everything else you create, somebody else will replicate. And that's a good one, I think, coming from Sam or Samuel that talked about disruptions. And that's the biggest trigger for transformation. There's a chart I would have showed us, but unfortunately, I had to take it off, and it just gives a very good picture of what transformation is all about. But hopefully, in the next session, when we continue, I'm going to show you that to show that whatever you create, according to Jeff Bezos, someone else will replicate it, and they might even do it better than you. And we'll go down to see people who have failed to transform, how it has cost them their business. And as individuals, if you fail to transform, it will cost you a lot. And it's part of why we're learning these courses, not just to look at it as if it's very far, personalize it as a person. We're moving from, we're in an age of technology, AI, an age of even knowledge is transforming. So if you're coming to the labor market, and that's why a lot of people find it difficult to transition, even in the labor market, the skills that the organization requires have transformed. The knowledge that is expected of an employee has transformed. A lot of things, transforming very fast. And unfortunately, some people will wake up in the next 5, 10 years and realize that they are not marketable, or they cannot get jobs. Not because the jobs are not there, because unfortunately they have not transformed to align with what is currently in the market. Let's move on from Jeff Bezos. Now let's take a very short clip of Gartner is a very large organization. Let's hear them. Let's listen and let's see what they have to say about digital transformation.
Digital transformation was critical for us. I mean, if you look at Dow, we're a big R&D engine. We focus on helping the world solve problems. In 2019, we finished a major merger and split out with DuPont. Our CEO came forward and said, we want to be very much focused on being a customer-centric, innovative, inclusive, and sustainable company. And just knowing that we had that ambition to go forward made us step back and really think about, what do we need to do differently? How do we need to interact with our customers differently? How do we need to operate differently? So the previous perception of being digitally driven was that IT would lead all of the change and that the technology would be the driver for the changes that we needed to make in the company. I think the eureka moment at Dow was understanding that this wasn't about technology. The digital transformation is really about how people do their work differently and understanding that the IT department wasn't going to drive this on our own. And through our transformation, it became very clear that this is a team sport and we needed our businesses, our functions, everyone in the company engaged to drive the change that's needed. We learned a ton about what our customers really cared about and what they wanted versus what we thought they wanted. So to adopt a new digital mindset in our company, we worked very closely with our businesses to identify the roles and responsibilities they needed on their teams to help drive this and make it successful. So we put digital leaders in place in the businesses to focus on data quality and some of the things that you may think wouldn't be that exciting as part of a digital transformation, but are very foundational to making it happen. So one of the examples that shows how we're operating differently is how we worked with Ralph Lauren. They were looking for, a process to dye fabric that was much more sustainable. And our R&D organization delivered what we call EcoFast Pure, which is a dyeing process that uses 90% less chemicals and 50% less water. All companies in the textile business could leverage this capability. So we partnered to put an open source platform in place to be able to present the information and how this could be done in a more sustainable manner. Through our digital transformation, we've seen some tremendous results. Our digital sales revenue has increased by 48% in 2021, and we are on target to deliver over $12 billion worth of sales through our digital channels this year alone. I don't think you're ever transformed and done. It's more about changing the way that people do their work than it is about introducing new technologies.
It's all about changing the way people do their work other than, introducing a new technology. I think that should sit in our minds as we, end this course. So the question really sits is why transform? I think that video has actually explained every single thing, and it has shown us how an organization actually transformed and how it improved and how improved their services, how they improved revenue. And the statement is really around, it's really about changing the way people do their work other than implementing a new system. So that will give you an idea that digital transformation is really it's not solely about introducing a new technology. It's really around people. If nothing goes with you, whenever somebody asks you what digital transformation is, it's really about changing people, culture. If you don't do that, any system you're bringing will not have that needed impact. People need to learn how to work together. They need to learn how to collaborate. They need to learn how to share their ideas. It's a whole lot. So dealing with making sure that people are transformed is the best way to do digital transformation. Now, why transform? A lot of there's a lot of feedback, but I think the most important thing here is, and those feedbacks are very, very, very helpful or remarkable. A business must transform because standing still is the greatest risk a business can face. We have seen that in examples of companies that have left the scene. Standing still is the greatest in this 21st century. If you bring it back to us as individuals, you must transform, because staying where you are and just, and not learning, not improving, not adding to yourself, you don't need to pray and fast. You are at risk. Your career is at risk. You will just wake up one day and you will feel like the whole world has left you. You're going to know when you start applying for jobs. You might get some interviews, but the rejections will stay in your face. What they are not rejecting you because it's not a race thing, it's not a color thing. It's just because they have requirements, and those requirements have moved. And that's the greatest risk every individual in this call should be aware of, that you can wake up one day, if you don't transform yourself, you are at risk of being isolated. So it's a message for us that transformation is not one-time activity, it's for life. Businesses will not transform today and say, oh, we have invested billions, so let's just wait. No, it's a continuous process until the life of that business. For example, let's take Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is one of the most, I will have the most valuable brand in the world, because Coca-Cola doesn't, every year they have huge budgets for transformation. They don't stay in a place. They keep transforming the way they serve their customers, the way they present their products. You see a lot of adverts with, aligning with, celebrities and all that. You think they're wasting money? No. And, companies that invest in R&D, which we call research and development, they are companies that will always remain at that spot. So if a company refuses to change, you're at risk, because unfortunately, customers' preference and taste will always and always change. So that also applies to us and applies to our careers. If we don't transform, I mean, just know that you're at a risk, and you will see it coming. And it's an advice for all of us that you should be in 2026 now. You should be in 2026 or 2027. Your skills should be in 2026, in 2025. So you should have started learning things that are actually coming. Not that if you're not learning the one that we have now, it's unfortunately you're almost late. You should be learning things that will come in the next 2-3 years now. That's why people stay ahead. That's why people who are high in demand will always be high in demand, because they have learned that they need to transform themselves as individuals. Now, digital transformation or individual transformation is no longer optional, right? It is the key to staying relevant, competitive, and resilient in a world where we have speed. There's a lot of innovation happening everywhere. There are data-driven decisions to be made that define how successful a company would be. Ignoring this advice or ignoring digital transformation is no longer a viable option for business, right? Or for individual. And it's just a matter of time. Just know you're sitting on a time bomb. And if you're not staying up to date, if you're not using the latest technology, unfortunately, you are at the brink. So it's an advice for us now that we're in a digital age, and there's a lot of shift in customer expectations. Even your employer has expectations. There's a lot of change in what employer expects from employees. That's why even though you are working, you have a job, you have to make sure that you don't spend all your time just working. You have time you have preserved to develop yourself, so that as the employer and the company is improving, you're also improving your skills to match up where they're heading to. So it's a very huge advice for all of us, in this call. So how does technology enable digital transformation? We'll just rush through this. Of course, it brings new streams of new revenue streams. When businesses transforms and they do a lot of research, they get more funds. They make sure that their systems, work smartly. Secondly, they take data-driven decisions. That's one of the, and of course, this is driving culture and workforce change. That's one way that, technology can benefit from transformation. New skills and capabilities are developed. You also improve customer experience, right? There's seamless interaction, their personalization at scale. And we're going to pause here and go for a 5 minutes break just for us to stretch our legs, and hopefully we will see what the next field holds. So we're going to go for a 5 minutes break. So please take your time, take water, stretch yourself. We're going to be back at exactly 5 minutes to continue with what is digital transformation. Thank you very much, guys, and see you in 5 minutes.